Parabellum's big problems last week was trying to nail down those roamers. If they haven't been able to grind out those issues coming into this week, then we all predicted Parabellum. We might all be going down in the prediction standings this week. But we'll get to the ban phase. Member PB starting out on the defense and Arial Arise starting on the attack. And first ban is Coastline. We might not see Thatcher, but who knows?
Maybe.
We might still.
Might be something different, like, yeah. So two of the different changes to Coastline, but no, that's just the same as always. I guess the question more is, what is the next going to be? Is it be Flores? Is it going to be, you know, maybe Nomad? Is it going to be maybe something different like Zero? Hard to say. Arial Rise is a team, you know, maybe they want to get rid of that Nomad.
Yep. All right. Yep. So this is a pretty standard ban phase for Coastline, even before and after the rework. Hard breaching is a little bit more prevalent on Coastline with some of the map changes, such as, for example, VIP double window. Now it's a complete reinforced wall, so teams might want to take maybe a Hibana to open that up, but still Nomad is a very powerful map, or powerful operator on this map, so taking her out makes sense. Mira as well, strong on every map, so I'd say if there's any time to get crazy, the final defender ban would be, but I'd imagine we'll see likely a Valkyrie come out. Her and Nomad were kind of the attacker-defender duo in terms of ban phase for a while, and yep, there it is. So, all things considered, might be a new iteration of Coastline, but it's a pretty standard ban phase for how we've seen the map go so far.
Yeah, I would say these operators are still so powerful when it comes to Coastline no matter what, so it's not crazy seeing banned out. I don't know, Mirror depends though. You can see Mirror played up pretty well on Coastline, but there's also, you can vary that with Wamai, Jaeger, or something else on the board, but we'll see what happens here. We're going to Hookah and Birds as per usual for our first defense sites, which you always see when it comes to that first round on Hookah, and we're going to see who can bring their first step forward in this matchup. Maybe start out expecting, maybe expecting Arial to just take a really good attacking half. We'll see though.
Well, you will see from Arial mentioned earlier that sometimes hard breaching can be a little bit more prevalent. That isn't to say that teams would not still bring maybe Hibana on Coastline. Sometimes they certainly would. You'd also see a Maverick every now and then, but that was more so for the nades and the good gun as opposed to the hard breaching torch. But doing a Hibana here makes a lot more sense than it did previously. It made sense before for certain areas, but now, just with those changes, as I mentioned previously, BC is going to have a lot more options and walls to use those X-Kairos on. He could try to open up that quad wall in Sunrise that has usually been the premier spot if there is to be any hard breaching, but you can see that Parabellum have already reinforced those two double walls inside of VIP, so I imagine we'll see a little bit of focus taken by Beastly onto that area to start moving things in, and since there is a Cade, it will be electrified as well. So that Thatcher band gonna rear its ugly head a little bit, so Arial Rise will either have to take control of the guitar to clear that out or go down below inside a kitchen. Either way, will be a little bit more work than it would have been if this map were the same as before.
Definitely. It's going to see, and just, yeah, see Parabellum here. It looks like they're playing an extension here out in the hallway, creating an angle onto people pushing bathrooms. So that guitar push, you said, is going to be more difficult for the members of Arial Rise, seeing that shield all the way up in 90, facing towards those doorways. But it looks like Arial Rise are focusing more towards Sunrise to go below for the first part. Maybe since they can see that there is a lot of movement on the side, a lot more horizontal on the side of PB, they're expecting to see if we make a quick push up, Cool Vibe stairs, up through these kitchen floors and take control of bottom floor as quickly as possible. Kento looking left and right. Warner is going, being drawn another member. He's going to walk up those stairs, and can he deal with the player Vase that's starting off here? There's no barbed wire. What way can they even stop Kento from walking up the stairs?
Well, there are players currently sitting close by that position. You can see Spirits playing just outside that hookah door on top of the Cool Vibe stairs. But for Arial Rise right now, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't get too crazy just yet. You still have plenty of time to try to gain some more intel and start making your way up. My main concern right now, of course, it is a minute in. There's plenty of time for things to change, but just solely pushing up Cool Vibes, even having some presence at that hookah door is really going to be keen on getting one or two of those frags to make that entry into site work. If you're not going Aqua or trying to clear out that presence over by 90 or inside of VIP, it's going to be difficult to make that work if you're not able to get at least one or two of the kills and not bear too much damage incurred on your sides. So for right now, Gomez will believe that Renegade has now been burned. Continue to peer on in, but there, the first bit of damage comes out in the round. I believe that was Spirits, but there's that first frag. That so important one that might signal and execute. Arial Rise have now got it, and they have the time to recover. Kento's finally made his long-awaited push up Cool Vibes, but Parabellum finally answered back. A C4 flies over, but Kento knows he doesn't have to shoot it. He can just walk on by, but oh no! He's accidentally been flashed by his team. The new flash, it rears its head in the round as well, but he still manages to find Kool-Aid, downs him on the floor. A 2v4 currently favoring Arial Rise as they make their way up Cool Vibes. Melted is alive inside of Aquarium. There's one player cutting off his push in from the big window, not able to land the kill. A very strong round for Arial Rise to start things out.
Yep, that was Arial Rise doing the due diligence, figuring out where these players are from PB, knowing most of them, well, not most of them, some are off-site playing that horizontal roam by VIP, by 90, and they make the push of cool vibes. And the first player, Spirits, is the full front to try and stop them, and he plays a bit aggressive there. He walks into hookah, tries to play aggressive on the door, maybe expecting them at that point because you saw the X-Kaios were on that single panel, allowing him to play vase. So at that point, I believe he made that move because he's being pressured out at that point from the members of Arial Rise outside hookah, and unfortunately other members from PB weren't really in a position to deal with the player on cool vibes. That was Kento coming in after that first kill onto Spirits, taking control of cool vibes, taking control of hookah at that point, and really the last three members of PB had to come back to site, and at that point Arial Rise already had full control of hookah, and they were just already ready for those rotating members of PB. So unfortunate for them, they couldn't hold off, they couldn't stop that onslaught, and they weren't ready to really spring at the action of losing that first member that needed to be there. So we'll go on to the kitchen for our next 7 PB. They're not going to reach our hookah. They're going to go to a different site and see if they can play a different game here.
We'll see if Arial Rise on their attacking strategy try to go for something similar. I imagine, as you can see, reinforcements and utility being dedicated up top. Parabellum will have some semblance of manpower on that top floor, as is common on coastline to extend off that site, usually up or down in the vertical plane. But for Arial Rise, they were content to just work that hookah angle. Once they got the pick, they sent Kento up full vibes. So will they do something similar here? Maybe take over from Sunrise and hookah and try to just contain that extension into Penthouse and 90 and not really try to deal with it all that much. They'll start things out entering from that exact side of the map. Office in blue and some members outside Sunrise as well could just be trying to gain a foothold down below as quickly as possible. Some intel on the player on Cool Vibe Stairs is EPing Gomez. He knows that there's one facing completely away from the Sophia, but thankfully Penguin is there on the long angle all the way in main lobby to land the refrag onto Gomez. Sure, you've lost Eska, and that's now Sunrise control for Arial Rise, but you've managed to blunt the force that Arial Rise are quickly bringing into the building, but they've retaken the lead once again.
Oh, wow. Kool-Aid goes down, and it seems like that was the alibi. I'm not sure what the alibi of Kool-Aid was, but upstairs Spirits, I know Spirits was playing theater, so members from the side of PB are trying to interact. They're trying to spring into action to try and bring the game back, but Arial Rise are ready for that action, ready for that aggression from PB, and one after another, those members from PB are losing those fights. Now bring it down to just Penguin and Melted when it comes to the last. There's still 2 minutes left. There's still 1:50 on the board for Arial Rise to play with here, and they have time to figure things out, time to drone out and see what's going on before they push through. Really, Penguin's got to look at so many angles. Heavy damage from the kitchen window, but there's no Thunderbird on the board, so that damage has been nullified thanks to those Kokona stations. And now Melted looking around, looking at security, looking at long haul, trying to hold him in angles. But how long can he really stay here? And how many angles he looks at? One coming from security as well. So he's being pinched at the very moment.
Yeah, this is sort of the issue right here. Melted and Penguin might both be alive and have Kona stations, but they're separate. Melted's able to land 1 kill, but Kento comes from behind, but oh no, he misses the shots. He's allowed Melted some time to recover. Throws a frag grenade, but that's the moment the Goyo peaks, but he still takes the gunfight and manages to find the kill. Penguin starts moving into main lobby, but oh no, doesn't spot Kento wide swinging. The very rotate he's moving through. 2 rounds in a row for Arial Rise, one even quicker than the previous one. This might be just very well indicative of the game we're going to see so far. It is coastline after all, but this is even quicker than I think we anticipated for the 2 teams we're seeing.
Yeah, that was a 4K from Kento again. Kento going off already this game, and that start of the round is already just, they understood that they were playing a lot of focus into Sunrise, and it was so easy for Gomez just to circumvent that, just to walk through blue from Office into Sunrise and just crouch walk up onto Eska, who was playing Sunrise by himself. And well, at least Penguin had the refrag, but that's still put such a wrench in the plan. The person on Cool Vibes, who I believe was Melted, was trying to play that position to help out, maybe hold blue, or at least hold an angle to help out, Eska, but unfortunately couldn't do it, and that kind of circumvents, it gives him the lead. There was a refrag, but the other members from Parabellum are taking fights off screen, and they're losing those fights in 2, leaving it at 2v5 with still 1:50 in the round. That was kind of crazy that they didn't even need a really clear vertical, but they got the picks they needed again and again on the side of Arial Rise. Again, we didn't see some of those kills also off screen, but I didn't know what happened there. Just maybe it was some aggression PB, try and bring the man count back in their favor, or at least even it. Don't know.
Well, now the adaptation that Parabellum have decided to employ is putting Kool-Aid on the cap can. Now this is not uncommon for Parabellum specifically, I would say it's fairly uncommon for teams overall. We see it in some places, like Kitchen on Villa is a big place that we see Capcan sometimes played, but Parabellum, they've shown a tendency to sometimes bring him out, but it's still pretty infrequent when they try to employ him. I imagine this is just some kind of strategy to try and, well, stop the members of Arial Arise from fully getting into the building, having to take some time, actually drone properly on these doorways to either shoot that Capcan trap, or if they're pretty lazy and they're taking things really quickly, they might find themselves walking directly into one and losing some health early on. Kool-Aid also using that as an excuse to fire some shots over towards office doorway. The moment Arial Arise break on through, he'll retreat into security, and Arial Arise will spot some of the Capcan traps, but now it's just a matter of spotting the Capcan that is now still leering in the area.
At least it slowed them down. Kento taking a lot of damage, and finally Kento goes down. The menace from last round with the 4K will go down to Eska early. Bleed playing Sunrise once again, and these members of Arial Rise that maybe were trying to deal with Eska from a pinch from Mudroom and from Office. Well, they're taking out those people from Office have been stopped by Kool-Aid, but still Eska goes down. Wimpy's there ready for the refrag as he runs through trying to get away from the position. So if he gets that refrag, they even up the man count, and now Melted still positioned to play aggressive here and hold Sunrise. And the members in Office from Arial Rise are still there. Kool-Aid goes down. The Capcan trying to hold on and hold off their push into Sunrise. Unfortunately, he goes down early. And now with the lead goes down, Melted there, fight back, takes a Wimpy. Penguin there to help out Melted though from behind. And now 3v2 looking great for Parabellum this round compared to last.
That's a great. Not only is that a solid call from Penguin or a solid decision to move to that kitchen doorway, but also Gomez. Arial Rise have done a fair bit of droning so far. They've not taken this nearly as quickly as they have previously, but they didn't drone out Penguin at that doorway, who was standing behind Melted, setting up a crossfire and ready to trade out the Goyo if he fell. And, well, Melted got a kill, but Gomez didn't look that way, and Penguin's able to get that kill. And now it's Parabellum not only on a good stance in terms of the man advantage, but also with about the same bit of utility they had last time. Melton might be missing his C4, but Penguin still has his 3 toxic canisters as well. So for Arial Arise, could try to go for these kills. Beastly still has control of Sunrise. DS Lucas clearing out upstairs for the moment, but everyone on Parabellum still has what little bit of offsite presence they have left intact. Spirits able to continue holding main lobby. Both Penguin and Melted setting up trades inside of sight. They'll finally start to make their way on through. The smoke grenade goes out, but the E1D won't stop Penguin and Melted from cleaning up the final 2 members of Arial Arise. EB managed to answer back with a bit of a shaky early round, but they certainly took it in their grasp towards the end.
It was certainly an adaptation. They figured out what they needed to do here, and I'll say it played out exactly as what they wanted, but it still worked out definitely in their favor. The fact that they had Kool-Aid. Sure, he didn't get a kill, but he held off that push from Office that you saw Arial Rise do in the second round. He made sure they couldn't just walk into Sunrise and get a kill like that. They made sure they took time to push their way through Office and Blue Bar because he was playing Capcan, because he was not only playing, the Capcan with the traps and having the destroyer traps, but he played security, made sure they had to take a fight with him before pushing into Blue Bar. That allowed for, Eska inside of Sunrise to get that first pick onto Kento playing Mudroom. So that gives him the first picture. He goes down later on, but in the end, it was still a great pick for them. Oh, and really, in the end, I still think the fact that they're adapting. Big thing about PB has always been an adaptation. It's the fact that they're adapting so quickly and changing up their play round per round.
Now going here, now they've won Kitchen. Won't see them try Hookah again. They're still leaving that side to the wayside, but this is, I think, one of the benefits of Newer Coastline. Now people actually feel a bit more comfortable trying out Penthouse Theater. It was never, not viable or just completely and objectively terrible. You could defend it. It was just difficult. But now with those changes to VIP, it's a little bit easier not only to hold that area, but this site overall as well. For Arial Arise, they could very well take this similar to how they tried to take that very first Hookah round. Try to make an entry maybe from Sunrise down below, but maybe a focus on Hookah. But either way, they will have to probably concentrate on trying to take Kool-Aid out from VIP, because they could just try to go repel on big window and maybe make a push up main. But as long as they have that angle and that position at their disposal, there's always the potential for a retake from one or a few members of Parabellum.
Well, let's see if there's many, because that's really interesting too, is that Arial Rise so far hasn't really tried to clear the roam whatsoever. They haven't tried to vertically clear. They haven't played vertical whatsoever this entire game so far. They haven't needed to, really. They've been getting the picks they need to every single time. And it's been interesting to see them do that every single round. So let's see how they do this time. Looks like they maybe will try to clear it this time around as they throw a grenade, destroy one of those Goyo shields upstairs. But these castle barricades on windows now, because you can now place those castle barricades or barricades in general on these windows in the courtyard, allowing Fuse members to play, aggressively in the hallways. Penguin take the first kill onto Kento once again, and was nobody with Kento?
I'm not sure, but wow, Eska still managing to stay alive inside of Aquarium. Looks like that they were aware of Eska's position, but he's able to land the shots onto Wimpy before, one, Gomez can trade, and two, after he's able to start dropping down the hatch. Excellent not only excellent extensions by Parabellum, but also good coordination and knowledge of their strats on the timings of when they need to drop, when they need to take gunfights, or when they need to back off. Also with some additional damage onto Gomez. Now that he's making his way through luggage, easy cleanup for Spirits, even with the Roni not being the most high damaging weapon despite its rate of fire. Beastly and Dias Lucas, the only two left alive once again, but now as opposed to the previous round, it was a 2v3, they've got all 5 members of Parabellum in various states of damage to try and cut through.
Not looking for Arial Rise, and PB playing it well. Penguin with another kill on the DS. 2 for the round for Penguin, and now it's up to Beastly in a 1v5. What information does here is one at the top of the stairs, ready for that fight. Oh, Spirits takes damage. He doesn't do much damage to him, but he's getting shot again, and Spirits aggressive, trying to get that kill. Bearing 9 to finish him off. Beastly running away, knowing there's a second member from PB behind Spirits. But at this point, really, what can Beastly really do in this situation? He's probably just gonna, walk into angle. Maybe take the time to talk to his teammates about the next round coming up, because at this point, Parabellum have tied it up 2-2.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult to win this out for Beastly. I would just stretch this out as long as you can and get that de facto timeout. There have been, or all the members of Parabellum have retreated from this VIP area, but look, see, Penguin has these holes made to look all the way over into Hookah and into 90 Hall, which is exactly where Beastly tries to creep on in, but Parabellum managed to answer back 2-2 off of that angle, but also the great play and cohesion they exhibited over the course of that round. The one time that Arial Arise decided, you know what, I think we have to actually clear out this extension, PB were able to play to the strengths of their strats, catch them off guard, and Arial Arise just were never able to win a gunfight or find a foothold.
Yeah, I think at that point, every single time PB were in a gunfight, there was someone next to them to take a refire or take a fight with them. And it seemed like Arial Rise that round, there were members who were solo clearing or solo pushing. Like Kento by himself, I guess, was pushing in. I didn't see anybody from Arial Rise with Kento to either refrag or take fights with him. I guess we didn't see it firsthand because it was happening off screen. But I wondered, what was the game plan for Arial Rise that round? Were they not totally aware of the game plan, of the amount of teamwork going on in PB's play?
Well, it also, and that's say we don't know what happened with Kento, but there were multiple people all trying to push Eska out of Aquarium. It just so happens that they both pushed the same angle. They didn't really have a crossfire. They were just double swinging it at the same time, and one member died. The other took a lot of damage, but neither were able to stop Eska before he rotated back. So maybe if they were able to try and make their way into billiards, they could have found something. But there was also that long angle held inside of VIP, looking into that area. That was just really a difficult position for them to try and pinch Eska out of without going down below and having someone in office try to catch him off on that rotate. But instead, they decided to double stack on that doorway, swing on in, and he's able to rotate back down. There's nobody there to catch him on the rotate backwards. Finally, after 2 round wins, Parabellum will also decide to rotate all the way back to Hookah. I believe this is the exact same setup they had previously. I think it might have been like Goyo, though. No, Goyo's a different round. I think this is the same setup.
No, Goyo wasn't here. It looks like the same setup. They're bringing the castle, and they're having that, castle barricading that double door into billiards from Aqua. So it looks to be the same play, and it was the big part was holding on to Cool Vibes, holding on to Hookah, and that early pressure that really dealt in the blow from Parabellum. So, having those members respond quickly when they're pushing up the stairs is big for Parabellum, and I wonder how they've adapted to this play, because it was Spirits on the forefront that took the damage, lost the fight, and Kento taking heavy damage from Penguin. Penguin taking damage there too, so it's a trade in damage. Both members and Penguin at least aware of Kento's position once again, so they can at least try and help out Spirits this time if they push Spirits out of Vase. Hard to say, Kento expecting a peek from Penguin, but Penguin's pulling back for a second, waiting for a chance. Just that's all you do is sit and wait. He's just wasting more time this way. And I wonder, what are the other members of Arial Rise pushing? You Wimpy here, push him Kitchen, and then again, the focus seems to be Hookah and Cool Vibes once again.
Arial Rise appear to be taking things the exact same way. They have exchanged a Flores instead of Gomez and Sophia, but there you go. Kento down alone inside of Sunrise, taken down by Kool-Aid. Not inside the site, actually. I thought it was, but no, he's actually inside of Z, moving in down below from main lobby. They do manage to find Penguin on the smoke, so Kento can feel a little bit vindicated in that regard. The man he spent about a solid minute staring at, now taken down. That's important utility that the defense will now be missing, but Arial Rise, sure, it might be a 4v4. They still have a lot of the control necessary to go for the same execute they did previously. They've managed to land that pick onto Penguin. There's somebody playing top cool vibes, but Wimpy has control down below, could try to push on up, and finding Melted as well. Now it should be a lot easier, but Spirits brazenly wide swings the doorway. Every single time Arial Arise finally gain a little bit of momentum to try to reclaim that execute they had previously. One member of Parabellum steps up and stops them in the tracks. In the 3v3, Arial Arise are struggling to make inroads into the site, and in the final minute, that just gives Parabellum more time to coalesce.
Well, Liberal's X-Kyles go off on that single wall between Vase and Hookah, which should give a bit of an angle on Spirits if he goes back to Vase, but he's playing cool vibes more heavily now, trying to deny the push-up because he knows that there's two players, or at least one, down here waiting to push up. He's going to push back up, drive by, shoot one second, see if he can deal with the player outside, and he can't unfortunately. Beastly's there, ready for that kill, takes out Spirits. Vase is now clear. Kool-Aid, the next player up to try and stop them pushing up cool vibes, aware of the presence of the person outside the Hookah door. Great grenade from side of Wimpy, down goes Kool-Aid. Eska's ready for there, but DS gets the refrag, and Arial Rise will take another Hookah defense.
Good attempt by, or good job by Spirits on that first wide swing, able to take down Gomez outside on that Hookah balcony. But after that, from that position, he really put himself in a difficult spot by getting that kill. I think he rotated. Did he rotate inside of Hookah? Did he rotate on Cool Vibes? Well, either way.
He went to Cool Vibes after
Okay,
that kill.
okay. So by rotating over to Cool Vibes, Arial Arise, even though there was Melted and Kool-Aid both in main lobby, applying pressure to those players over by Kitchen and Sunrise, they still had control of Kitchen and Sunrise and were kind of able to rotate in and out, not freely, but enough to evade Melted and Kool-Aid's line of sight if they're able to apply some pressure over on down. Kool-Aid eventually rotated back, and once they took out Melted, Spirits is in a tough spot. Either he sits on Cool Vibes and takes the fight with two players down below, or rotates up and tries to take the fight with the players sitting outside on Hookah balcony. Unfortunately, he loses that one, and Arial Arise finally gets that moment to push on in. And the moment Wimpy takes down Kool-Aid, the final member, Eska, inside of Aquarium, is just not in a great spot to make that 1v3 happen. So overall, Arial Arise, again, a very shaky early to mid-round, but they kept taking actions to better their position, and it finally took until about a minute left for that position to finally take hold.
Yeah, it was an early round adaptation from the side of Parabellum because you saw that aggression when you said before. Melted them playing, they flanked those players downstairs that were playing, cool vibe stairs below, so they were able to stop it for the moment. But it still was, as you said before, the what Arial Rise needed to take that round, and they did it well. And that grenade from Wimpy, you said before, was kind of that turning point for them. Hey, the next person up to hold on cool vibes was Kool-Aid, and that grenade from Wimpy was right there, stopped him from playing that position, and at that point the round was over then. So we'll go back to Cool Kitchen now this time, and it's been a shaky one here and there. And it was a good start when it came to this map, this round or this site from Arial Rise, but it was PBE to figure things out, to change up their strat and deny them from playing that same kind of strategy. And now Arial Rise have to play, to exploit a different strategy into taking this round. Creativity is the big one here, and Beastly trying to walk away from Eska's pre-fire, walks into walks into office. Unfortunately, those walls are all soft. Eska just keeps firing.
And that area of the map was where Arial Arise were really starting to find success on their clear in the first attempt of Kitchen. And oh no! Gomez peeking into Sunrise, trying to do his job, pinch out the members playing inside, but nobody's watching upstairs. Spirits catches him off guard, breaks open that Billiards double window, takes them down, and puts Arial in an early 5v3. Thought that was Wimpy who got that kill, but no, it's actually DS Lucas and Kento to answer back, making things a 3v3. Kento and Wimpy, respectively, have both completely nullified the impact achieved by Parabellum early on, which was denying Blue Bar and Sunrise control to Arial Arise. Now, sure, they've lost 2 men, but it's been completely retaken. Almost lands the shot onto Penguin, but it's the smoke in turn. The SMG-11 of all guns to make that fight work for him. Now, instead of DS Lucas and Beastly, it's him and Wimpy left in the 2v3.
Well, one EED one comes off. Wimpy gets a good pick, and the Penguin Kool-Aid's there. It's a refrag, and now it's just on the DS. He's walking the site, but he's careful of his courtyard pressure. C4 goes out, a little bit too slow there and too short to get a kill on DS. He's looking for a kill there. Great headshot on the Kool-Aid, but Spirits from courtyard, the position he was so aware of, will be his downfall. And it's PB to take one back. 3-3 half, as you'd expect here in Coastline.
Story of Arial Arise, that half, if they were able to get their momentum, or aside from, I would say that the final Hookah attack is a little bit of an exception to this rule, but overall, if Arial Arise were able to get that early momentum, they pretty much, I wouldn't say easily, but the round usually went in their favor after that, despite the fact they did only manage to get the opening pick 2 times that half, but it was in 2 of the rounds that they won. The third time was on that Hookah attack where they did not win the opening duel, but that was also kind of the exception I pointed out, where They weren't able to get that opening pick. They slowly whittled the man count of Parabellum down, and then they were able to make their execute happen onto Cool Vibes. Every time Parabellum stepped up, got aggressive in the face of Arial Arise, it'd catch players like Kento off guard. Or players like Wimpy, and I don't remember the other player, unfortunately. I think it might have been Wimpy and Gomez, but they tried to swing Eska inside of Aquarium. He'd managed to get a pick and then get away. If Arial Arise did not get the momentum they needed early on, and Parabellum usually did that by just getting in their face, it was very difficult for them to win the round after that. And Arial Arise, we also saw they didn't place a lot of focus on clearing out those extensions, except for a few rounds here or there. Will Parabellum take the same focus? We'll have to find out as Arial Arise here to be extending in various areas, just like PB did.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, Air Rise won. The site they won the most was Hookah Billiards, which is considered to be the default first site for most teams. But maybe with these changes to the coastline, maybe Hookah's being the site you don't want to play as much. Hard to say. You know, I haven't watched enough Cool Vibes, or not Cool Vibes, I mean, enough coastline to say. But it was interesting that that was the only site that Air Rise won constantly compared to the other sites. They only won Kitchen once. Other than that. So let's see how it goes here for PB. And just before, are they going to clear extensions? How is Air Rise going to play? Are they going to make that extension like we saw from Parabellum into, into 90, into VIP, which looks like they did. We saw shields being set up already, so it seems to be a similar strat to what we saw in PB, but a different entryway compared to Air Rise. So entering through service, being drones coming through, make sure who's playing downstairs. But just like we saw from PB, nobody's really playing downstairs. They're all playing upstairs horizontally for the moment. Esk takes a bit of damage, maybe from something else, but hard to say. We'll see what PB do in turn compared to Air Rise.
Well, PB do appear to be going for that take starting out on the bottom floor where they want to start out their rounds, though I believe there's a mass migration over towards Sunrise instead of Kitchen. Eska did take a little bit of damage. I believe that was likely from upstairs, from the players that are currently sitting inside of VIP and maybe Penthouse as well. So they're like, you know what, there is this extension. Maybe we need to rotate over and just take Sunrise. Since it is clear, there's nobody actively contesting it. Maybe some holes up above, or maybe that hatch is open. But beyond that, it's fairly clear for the taking for Parabellum. Is there anybody playing on the top of Cool Vibes? Not aggressively, but they have that rotate, and there is somebody. That is Gomez on the smoke, playing close with that shotgun. So it's going to be difficult to try and remove him from that position. Parabellum likely going to have to use some combination of Eska's nades, Melted's concussions, what have you, and likely Penguin on this window as well to try to dismantle that spot if they want to put as much focus on Cool Vibes as Arial Arise did.
I guess the thing too is opening up the single wall like we saw from the side of Air Rise. Open up the single wall, make it difficult for those players in Vase to play there. Make them able to push the Cool Vibes to push back into, into sight, into Billiards. And the first kill goes into Kento. Another play. Here's a drop. Great hearing from Kool-Aid. Here's a drop into Courtyard. Kills DS and 2 members down. And again, this Hookah Billiards site seems to be difficult as well for Air Rise. Down goes Wimpy. Beastly, one of his own. And Gomez trying to stay alive for as long as possible. He runs away. Actually gets away. Never mind. He gets away to kill.
Yeah, but there's Kool-Aid to try and stop things for Arial Rise in terms of regaining their comeback. Beastly, last one alive inside of Hookah, spots one on Cool Vibes, but not able to land the shots. And oh no, right as he swings, the smoke obscures his vision. It's Melted through the smoke as well, able to land that kill. Good job by him. But overall, it was not Cool Vibes. That was the main... I mean, Cool Vibes was a focus for Parabellum. I'm not going to completely nullify my point. But I thought, based on the way they were positioning, okay, have Penguin opening up that bottom section of the wall on top of Cool Vibes to make it more difficult for Gomez to rotate back. You have Kool-Aid down below, Melted on the balcony door, Penguin on the window. Okay, they might be trying to clear out Gomez from Cool Vibes, but instead, working those exact same angles, members of Arial Rise peak or get caught rotating, Parabellum are able to take them down, and Gomez actually manages to stay alive on Cool Vibes for quite a long time, but Parabellum were just taking their positions, and members of Arial Rise, again, either swung or were rotated off, and just Parabellum like, okay, well, I guess we'll move in now. And, of course, there's some banter in the chat that Benny was laughing about.
Was that a year 2 flank?
I didn't even watch Siege during that time, so that might be the funniest joke ever told, but I don't get it. I assume that was referring to the courtyard vault.
Yeah, the courtyard drop off into walking into blue bar.
Yeah, that was a bit of an odd decision because Gomez clearly knew that, or Gomez had probably relayed to his team that they were pushing Sunrise and Kitchen and all that, and he still vaulted down anyway. There was like they're gonna be watching that.
Yeah, that someone's gonna be watching for the flank there. Just the gridlock too as well, so they had people watching flanks. I don't know, it depends. Hard to say. We'll see what happens here. We go to Kitchen and service for our next site from the side of Arrow Rise. And we saw from the side of PB that They played Sunrise very heavily when it came to this. Defended Sunrise. They started defending Blue and Office more and more as the rounds go on, as Arial were playing more aggressively. You could tell Arial was, entering from those positions. So Parabellum, looks like we see where they enter from, as they're looking to put more pressure in the same exact spots. Office, maybe a Lamborghini door, and the numbers are upstairs. So there are some roamers on the top floor that we saw in PP on their defense, but I don't think either team really wants to roam clear, it seems like.
No, it seems that way. A lot of the trends so far in this matchup has just been, oh, they're heavily holding that position off the site. Yeah, we're good. We don't really want to deal with that. So they just kind of forget about it, move on it. All right, well, that's, I'm going to assume that was not intentional, despite maybe Kool-Aid's transgressions in the chat. And oh, no, Gomez also lands a shot onto Penguin Eska. The only one alive outside of this push into office. We have a mute bug, by the way, so don't worry. Our sound is gone as well.
I can hear him shoot.
Spirit's desperately trying to push on in. This is just... Actually, it's a 3v3, I just realized. They managed to catch that back. Okay, now it's a 3v2. I have... Yeah, really,
Dude, it is so weird
it's
watching
really
this with silence.
It's really amazing how much audio plays an important factor, because I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, it's a 3v3. Oh, and now it's a 3v2. You see the
noise of the kills, because it gives like noise when someone dies.
Like
yeah, the woo noise. That's all you hear right now. It's just people dying. Well, it's really kind of weird. It's really kind of spooky.
I honestly wouldn't have predicted a round that started with Eska shooting Kool-Aid in the back of the head to result in a 3v2 favoring Parabellum, but sometimes the most rare realities to surface are the ones that are the most interesting, and two, the ones that end up happening, because life can be mysterious that way. But there we go. Finally back, Kenny.
Hey, we're back, and the first person to get die is probably going to be the Jaeger of DS, playing by himself. Actually, the guy kills Whippy instead, actually flies on him, blows up DS through the shield, gets the kill, and yeah, that was a really odd round. Really odd.
It's like the audio went out, and so did my interpretation of the events I was watching. It was just, because I was like, oh, the audio's gone. Oh, it's a 3v2. That's...
Because the first part of the round was that team kill, and then you saw Penguin walk in. They hadn't cleared the hatch inside of Aqua, so he dives to the hatch. And then members from Arial Rise start peeking, even though they had the advantage.
Yeah, no, that was just a weird round overall. Of course, we will have a quick rehost to probably allow us to collect our thoughts after that chaotic round that we just witnessed. It's not actually for the players; it's just for us to try to get our bearings after that tumultuous round, to say the least. And honestly, Benny, I really thought when, like you said, they didn't drone out Gomez on that Aqua hatch, doing the exact same thing Eska was doing on Parabellum's defensive half, gets a kill there. I was like, oh, okay. Parabellum, who had 3 bodies over by Office, now have 1 body over by Office. I don't think this round is going their way, but then it did. Despite all conventional wisdom.
Yep, you saw the person, I forget who it was, but someone from Arial Rise playing security. They tried to peek into office, even though they had the man advantage. I believe there's also a member upstairs who you kept peeking the Aqua hatch. They die as well, and really all kinds of fall downhill. As then you saw Spirits push into Billiards, get the kill on the member inside of Hookah, and really from there, just 2 members left. One side of Sunrise by themselves. One's playing the kitchen door, expecting the push from Blue, and both members lose the fight.
Yeah, and going forth here right now, we can see this. Obviously, you can. Right now, the site is selected as Hookah, so was Kitchen previously. Now they might be trying to say, you know what, that after losing that 5v3, I don't really know if we want to go for that again. So going back to Hookah, of course, that was the big round where I was like, hey, I think they're gonna get Gomez on Cool Vibes, and then they never got him on Cool Vibes until the very end of the round. Instead, it was Arial Rise taking gunfights and trying to rotate, and both times they either lost or were caught off guard by Parabellum, who went for a very similar take to how Arial Rise was. So far, it's actually been fairly equivalent between these two teams, congruous on terms of their takes on attack, and also how they've been positioning their operators and players on the defense.
Yeah, as far as going back to Hookah, seeing its success rate so far in this entire game.
Yeah, it's not been great. Hookah has not, I believe, it has a 0% defender. No, it has 0% defender win rate.
In this game, it's been 0%. Yeah. That's why I was confused that they were going back there. So I'd be like, hey, maybe go to Penthouse and Theater this time or something like that. Or we haven't seen Double Bar yet. Maybe Double Bar is not really that great of a site now with the changes to map. Yeah, because we haven't seen it whatsoever yet.
I mean, I'm fine personally. I mean, if one site has to go in order to see more Penthouse, I'll willingly sacrifice, honestly, any of those sites just to see Penthouse get played more. Hope we do get to see Arial Rise decide to go to that site eventually, but Parabellum, they are 5-3 right now. If Arial Rise don't regain the momentum soon, could lose their chances to take us to either Penthouse once again or Blue Bar, which has not been played once in this entire match. And Benny, they did have some time to talk just now during that tactical rehost. After losing the 5v3 and losing that man count so aggressively, Parabellum taking it away in the fashion that they did, hopefully we'll see some sort of comeback from them on their defensive half.
Hopefully, let's see. Just again, we know you always talk about Arial Rise, no matter what, whatever the name's been. It's always been in the past is how aggressive they are, and they always peak left and right. Also, they just reinforce the usual rotate between Cool Vibes and Luka.
I don't think so. Did they?
I think I just saw Kento reinforce it.
I can't.
It's electrified.
They did.
They did.
All right.
I'm not gonna question it because there's gotta be some kind of plan here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure this is part of their strat, and after all, it might just be Gomez who was in a bit of a tricky spot last time with that rotate position where it is. Penguin might be able to exploit that opening to nullify Gomez's impact on that spot, allows Gomez to bunker up a little bit more. So could actually be better if Parabellum put a bunch of focus on Cool Vibes. So I trust him. I trust him.
We'll see what happens. Yeah,
Trust
I want
the
to see how it
process.
plays out. Because usually when we see that like before, that would be like a kind of crowding. But hey, if it works out for them, that's the point that makes it. If they're efficient and what intent is it for them, and what does it work for them, or what does it change here for them? Be interesting to see. As definitely, because last time you said Gomez had a problem playing that side, playing that position, because he was getting shot from both the doorway and from other positions. So we'll see if it helps out with his survivability on this site. They're going to drone it out. Spirits is going to destroy some things. See that wall is electrified and fully reinforced, and we'll see how PB react to it. And of course, the main intent, as per usual, is that Cool Vibe stairs. Though Melted and the rest of the members are pushing from that kitchen side, and Eska is going up to the hookah balcony. Whereas, so yeah, PB just figured things out, looking to do what they have, and I wonder if now they're going to jump on it, seeing that that wall is fully reinforced.
Yeah, that is the question. It is imperative that that shield manages to stay up for as long as possible, or Gomez, or anybody for that matter, can continue contesting that hookah door, because, again, the upside is Gomez can play Cool Vibes a little bit more comfortably with that wall reinforced, but the downside is you really have to put a lot of emphasis on winning your gunfight on that door, or the player playing inside of billiards managing to have an impact, and could be difficult if Arial Rise, or Parabellum, I should say, manage to play their positions to the same effect, but so far, they're not. 2 members of Arial Rise have swung, and 2 have fallen. Penguin manages to land a long-angle gunfight onto Kento playing inside of billiards, but Arial Rise have still managed to take down both the Aquarium player and also, I believe, the player repelled on Big Window. Eska tries to make his way into sight, but he's put to low HP as well. Arial Rise making the most of his bunker defense and making the most of denying all these angles to Parabellum. He has Lucas Peaks, the Swiss cheese hole in the wall, able to give him a gunfight win on Eska. Gomez drops down, not the year 2 rotate like Penguin said, but an elbow drop from above, able to land that kill and land Arial Rise their first defensive win.
So I guess that's the reason why they did that, is because they made that a whole entire wall Swiss cheese, so you can still shoot through the wall and deny it. Especially because they had the floor holes as well, like you saw there on that left wall inside of hookah. You probably can use those floor holes to shoot if they were to push into hookah underneath the underneath the benches, underneath the sofas inside of hookah. That probably was the play there that they had there. They had someone play those floor holes well if they needed to, and they didn't really need to because they're winning most of their fights anyway. And players on Big Window, players outside hookah, members downstairs. So, hey, great job from Arial Rise. And hey, I questioned it at first, but you clearly proved me wrong.
Yeah, opening up that hole in the manage they did, it was not only did it damage Eska heavily early on, it's where he ended up dying, and Gomez is able to play Cool Vibes a lot more comfortably because you did manage to reinforce that wall. Of course, one counter to that style of play is trying to put a bit more emphasis onto 90 and pushing from the opposite side of the map, like no team so far has done on the attack, but we very well might not see it so far. That is the first time Hook has been won. Now that Arial Rise have won it, it's locked for a few more rounds, and we'll move downstairs and see Blue Bar and Sunrise. I feel like it's rare, Benny, for a map to have all 4 sites played. I feel like it's always
especially
like
Coastline,
3.
yeah. No, because Penthouse and Theater was considered like super difficult without Mirror, and now Mirror's banned, and we saw PB play Penthouse Theater pretty damn well. They were playing like a team at every single juncture in that round. So it's great to see it. Now let's see Arial Rise play the double bar site, which can be difficult. They're extending, of course, towards kitchen upstairs as well. We're gonna see how they hold off against Parabellum in this, and everything's changed really. If anything really big, anything big has changed when it comes to attacking the site compared to before with the changes to Coastline.
Parabellum have shown that when given the chance or when the situation is favorable, they do like going on office side. Of course, their was that very awkward round previously where Eska started things off with a Team K onto Kool-Aid, but now it does appear that they're still favoring that office side, as is pretty standard for trying to execute on the blue bar. You get make your headway into office, see if there's anybody upstairs, which, as you can see, there's nobody right now. Since Kool-Aid also has been playing the gridlock so far, you can put down some flank watch substitutes for those nomads to try and make it a bit more difficult to rotate on through. And now they have managed to take down office, but it's also a matter of getting that vertical control as well, because you could just try to push on in, but it'll be a bit difficult with all the members of Arial Arise still alive on that horizontal floor.
There isn't a lot of indirect pressure. There's only 3 smoke canisters in a C4, so if they can deny that pressure upstairs and get into sight, they could go for a plan. Of course, the pressure is going to be controlling lobby, though, is the first part, making sure nobody from lobby can shoot the player behind blue bar, planting, and also, denying them from shooting, throwing those smoke canisters, throwing those C4s above. Penguins are going to start off first using those X-Cows to open up into a little corner of pink. You can see the carpet side on Sunrise Bar, and Kool-Aid pushing up, looking to see if he can find any kills, so he can find anybody peeking out or being unaware of his presence, but nobody from the side of Arial Rise is giving him that chance. And I don't really see any vertical pressure either from Arial Rise. Most of it seems to be horizontal. There are players up. I don't think there's any players upstairs on the side of Arial Rise. Oh wait, there's one. I lied.
There's one.
It's a Rudy actually too.
There's Rooney currently sitting inside of Hookah, but I'd say the most important player right now is there's one sitting inside of Courtyard that up until now has gone unnoticed by Parabellum. It's Wimpy, who shot a bunch of those X-Kairos and was the main... You might have looked at it and said, hey, why aren't Parabellum pushing in? Well, obviously those Courtyard holes are open, and now there's one directly contesting it, so if they try to move in for a plane in that area, it'd be a hell of a lot more difficult if Wimpy was not playing that spot. And now, Parabellum, it's a hell of a lot more difficult now that Penguin has fallen. He's already used the majority of his hard breaching, but the kill has gone untraded by Parabellum, and it looks like they might even be rotating the majority of their take. Kool-Aid making his way on in, will manage to win the gunfight against Wimpy. That's huge, but Beastly's gone unread up top, manages to drop down behind the player with the diffuser and take him down. Man advantage still maintained through Arial Arise through the subsequent gunfights, and are they aware of Beastly's position? The concussion will go off, still manages to find the kill. He's traded out by Spirits, but with only 20 seconds left, Gomez slacking the utility, and Kento doesn't really have any post-plant denial, but it's still a 1v2. They're able to play these trades. Spirits with the smoke grenades will smoke off that rotate and begin to creep on in. One player playing inside of main lobby. He's unread by Spirits. He'll start to rotate on through, but Kento and Gomez are both playing passive, and the latter peaks at exactly the right time. 2 rounds for PB, 2 rounds for Arial. Penultimate round that's about to start will decide who moves to match point.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that Arial Rise were peaking too much earlier in those rounds, earlier in the defense half, and it's interesting to see now that Arial Rise have, they had a bit of time off, they had a bit of time to talk, and you see them that round right there, they were playing much more conservative, much more, like, they were sure Wimpy was playing aggressive in Korea. Most members from Arial Rise were playing on site, playing ready for the information, playing ready for the queue to peak, and there are members like Beastly upstairs. He took the perfect time to drop into office from Aqua, get that pick on the member behind, and re-secure office, and even get another kill after that as they pushed him inside of office. So there's Arial Rise, figure things out, playing a lot more better strat-wise and a lot more better aggressive as well.
It still seems like some of those problems from the previous week against Two-Faced are rearing their head again. Nobody from Parabellum decided to contest up top, and hey, you can say whatever you want about that strategic decision. It clearly wasn't an element of their take, but there was still somebody from Arial Rise playing up top who ended up rotating down and flanking members of Parabellum. When they rotated their take in the final minute to start putting just a bit more even-handed pressure with some players looking over towards Sunrise, some still trying to contest blue, BC's just able to rotate down and get that free kill onto Kool-Aid, since not only is there nobody watching up top, there's nobody watching downstairs by office either. So it appears that maybe they even knew and were aware of Beastly's position, but nobody is there to fulfill that same flank watching role when things get later on into the round. Things get a little bit more hectic, and once they're down a man like Penguin, who has taken up a lot more of the mantles of support, flank watch, and droning, the moment he goes down, Parabellum are still faltering in those areas where, say, previously, like Sonar, he'd be there to pick up that slack.
Yeah, it's interesting to see here, like, yeah, those positions where you get flanked, those times where Arial Rise are picking better moments to be aggressive rather than we saw those first couple rounds from Arial Rise. They're picking great moments when PB aren't aware of it, aren't expecting it, won't have the necessary drones or infrastructure to stop it. They are bringing the gridlock along, but I guess, those gridlocks, those track stingers can only do so much. So let us see as we go back to kitchen, which, this round was unfortunately, one of those rounds where Arial Rise were just, they had the man advantage early in the round. There was an unfortunate team kill from Payday. There was not droning people upstairs and awkward. They didn't get that first pick on the Penguin, but PB still wins the round due to Arial Rise still taking fights in that mid round, in the early round.
But for Arial Rise, that's a problem that you can fix. Just be a little bit more disciplined. You had that time to go over your thoughts, and not only that, you've now won 2 rounds where towards the end they have been looking like they're playing a little bit more disciplined. I'm sure if they just go about their same strategy and they just stop getting that aggression, if they're able to get those first 2 opening picks, they could very well win this round. I think they've had enough time to let cooler heads prevail and work things out in that way. For Parabellum, they're going for the same take. 4 members all sitting over on that southern side, 3 of them by office. I don't know if it's the exact same 3 as last time that resulted in the TK, but it is some amalgamation of the same 3 as before. Spirit's also putting some focus upstairs and will spot 1 member playing above that hatch. It's not him to fall, though. It's Kento, the first on the floor, but Spirit's... Oh, no! He tries to land the pre-fire. He even Z-pinged for his team, but instead he just tries to wide swing, but by himself, Gomez wins the fight and gets away scot-free.
Where was Kento? Kento's down. Can they recover Kento and have his man advantage? Oh, Kento was security, so he's there playing security, playing aggressive. They are able to pick him back up. 3 members from Arial Rise here are all clustered together. Melted's playing Lamborghini now, so maybe they can get a pick on somebody walking away unaware of Melted's presence. Now, unfortunately, those members now are walking away. It looks like they've all been able to get away scot-free. Parabellum, once again in the early round, are man down in this start. And really, yeah, that was just unfortunate. Kool-Aid here trying to push back up to security, has secured it for his team, and he could put those track stingers down, but he knows one's close. It's the low HP member of Arial Rise. It's Kento. He swings first. He loses the fight, unfortunately, due to his low HP, and at least even it up now with Arial Rise. With Gomez, he's low in HP too, so it could be still Parabellum to bring it back as we go on to the last minute and 20 of the round.
And there are members of Parabellum in a position to pinch out this player playing inside of main lobby. There is Gomez up top, but again, as you mentioned, he's low HP, and for Parabellum, Kool-Aid is pushing in from security. He's droning out right now. Melted is outside of main lobby, slowly moving on in. There's Penguin there as well, but since nobody's cleared him out, he can just shoot these X-Kairos for free. He'll even consider swinging, but all he has to do is sit here and waste time. He doesn't need to get aggressive just yet. Continue waiting, forcing Parabellum to make a move, but now he might feel compelled to try and make a play. Melta's able to find Gomez, the player playing up top, but no, he manages to swing out, and not only does Penguin fall from Wimpy, but Beastly manages to find a kill onto Eska. Parabellum have thankfully managed to equalize. There was one player... Oh, no! I thought maybe he just didn't see him, or Beastly was behind a wall, but he was peeking below those soft holes inside of Kitchen and completely domes the second remaining member of Parabellum. Kool-Aid, with only 30 seconds left, has Diffuser, but he's in a bit of a tricky situation right now. One player holding long. He has the smokes and the utility, thankfully, to start pushing on in. He'll pre-fire as well, anticipating a swing. He lands some shots onto Beastly, but the latter returns a bit more fire that does more damage to Kool-Aid. Half the time is now gone since that 30-second mark. He'll try to move on in. With 1 HP remaining, it's looking like Arial Rise will secure match point unless something goes catastrophically wrong. He'll continue trying to pre-fire, puts 1 down to low HP. He peeks the wrong way. DS just has to clean him up. Match point for Arial Rise. Looked like PB were really starting to solidify in the mid-round. The 1 kill from Wimpy, followed up by 1 more from Arial Rise, was enough to tip it over the board in their favor.
Oh, yes, that start seemed pretty bad Parabellum, but they're able to bring it back. They'll get some kills, bring it back to a 4v4, and they're pushing into main lobby. They're trying to deal with these players as they push in, but then you saw right there was members from Arial Rise ready for those fights. You saw that great kill from the side of the Romai of Wimpy all the way at kitchen door. It was great there. Like, see that kill? That is ridiculous. I thought he couldn't see him. I thought he was behind a wall. That was crazy.
Yeah, I saw him prone. I was like, is he peeking the feet holes? And I was like, no, if he was peeking the feet holes, he would have shot by now. He got to be behind a wall. Oh, no, he is at the holes. Oh,
he is at the hole. He's there, all right.
Yeah,
that was there.
That was unfortunate, but honestly, that was just a really solid defense by Arial Rise. But for Parabellum, it was little mistakes throughout. The gunfight between Spirits and Gomez up top. Parabellum, they do manage to find a kill later on. That's Kool-Aid onto Kento, but take a while to clear out that main lobby, and it doesn't come at a light cost. They lose 2 bodies in the process, and yeah, the moment Beastly gets that kill, it would be difficult for Parabellum to come back from that. Arial Rise, they've now won 3 sites in a row, Hookah, Blue, and Kitchen. They'll go back to Hookah, which again has favored vastly the attackers so far, only one defensive win, but it was the most recent win by
Is this
Arial
the
Rise.
same
That was
strat?
on Hookah. Exactly, and they're running that same strategy. Now, Spirits is on the Ying, so they do have some utility to maybe try to force clear, say, Gomez out of Cool Vibes. We'll just have to see if they manage to make it work. Arial Rise, they just need to do a couple more things right, and they'll win in regulation.
Yeah, Arrowrise could win this match again. We'll see how it works this time, and whether or not, we saw Arrowrise last time on this site. They were, playing those fights correctly. They had those open holes, and they were able to take fights and deny the push on big window. People on site, outside hookah balcony, people downstairs as well. So it's just Arrowrise are winning so many of these great fights, and well, PB this time. Let's see what they can do. And again, that whole entire wall between Cool Vibes and hookah is solidified. It is reinforced, but they have probably footholds between that longer wall behind the barn hookah into underneath those soft benches. So I'm interested to see if PB do play into what they're expecting from Air Rise, at least, or Air Rise expecting PB to do here. As we'll start off here, just gonna drone out, see what's going on, and see if they can find the early picks. And of course, are they gonna try to even open up this wall, these two as well? Maybe getting rid of that electrical and opening up this wall facing Cool Vibe is big for them. But Eska, he pings one, see if he can get a pick here. He's trying to ping out and see those floor holes and sees him at 90. Sees him around the corner, trying to get that pick, but so far, looks like he can't seem to find it for the moment. And just taking their time.
That's sort of some of the problem I think is indicative of PB so far in CL is, I think, very exemplified very well by that Hibana. They'll try to use those X-Kairos, and there are players in positions that are easily able to shoot those X-Kairos, and that wall is not open nearly to the effect they would like, and a lot of the times it's because PB are struggling to sometimes clear these players out of positions or get the requisite intel, and it's not massive, colossal mistakes, but it's costing them a little bit of utility that Parabellum appear to very much want to make their execute happen. Though they did have a little bit more success than that pattern on this hookah site in particular. So far, it hasn't been rearing too much of a problem so far, but Penguin hasn't used any of X Kairos yet, and now they'll lose 2 sets of nades. DS Lucas able to find Eska, but it appears the take might be coming in. Spirits tossed all 3 of his Candelas, but down some smoke canisters as well. Kool-Aid's able to find one, melted a second as well, and retake the man advantage. Penguin weaves his way on in. No utility needed, but there's a flank coming from Kento. Sure, PB might still have the man advantage, but Kento now has a position inside of Aqua to try and deny this. And with the player on big window taken down as well, they've completely retaken control of hookah. There is one player sitting outside on the hookah balcony and one repelled outside that window, but one's on low HP. I guess 2 are on low HP. Both DS Lucas and Melted at 1 health. 1 bullet will take them down. DS Lucas on the coverage. Kento will start to defuse, but it's just a bait. DS Lucas will instead swap out. Kento with more health might be more effective coverage, but he misses the shots. He's not able to take down DS Lucas, but he vaults on out. Kento's the only one left. Spots the head for a second. He's able to land the shots. Melted. He's the last one alive. The last hope for PB in regulation, but on 1 HP, he has to land the shots. Is he able to do it? No, he can't! He misses the pre-fire! All the bullets in the world! All the time at your disposal! How do you whip that, Melted? Arial Arise taken in regulation in the most heartbreaking fashion I've ever seen.
What? I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say, but that early round was just chaos from both sides. They're trying to take control, taking fights left and right, trying to deal with those players who were entrenched on the side of Air Rise. And PB, in all of the chaos, had members in different directions. You saw Kool-Aid pushing Aqua, creating chaos on the side of the map, allowed them to push it and get that plant down.